This episode of Nerds on Tap is sponsored by HBO's How the Grinch Stole Christmas.
Hello there! What can I do for you today? We've got a deal on scratch-offs right now for the holidays. Do you have any gas out there? I can ring you up if you're all ready to
Open the register and hand over all of your Christmas.
Oh, is this supposed to be some kind of joke? Because it's very funny.
Does this look like a joke to you?
Please, we don't keep all of our Christmas up here. The rest is in the safe in the back of the store.
Then open the safe, you filthy who.
I'm sorry, only the manager can open
I'm not playing with you, who. Give me all of your Christmas, or I'll blow your fucking brains out.
Here, just take all of this Christmas. This is all I can give you.
Where's the manager?
He's not here. Please don't hurt me. I have a son.
Then take my advice, who. Get him out of Whoville.
Like mistletoe.
Hello everyone and welcome to another exciting episode of Nerds on Tap, the only podcast that knows exactly where to find the Shrine of the Silver Monkey. My name is Jim.
I'm Chris.
I'm Joseph.
And we have... No,
Okay.
Shut up. We have a special guest with us that I just insulted.
No one prepped me.
Like it. No, shut up!
Sometimes it's just the three of us losers. Every once in a while we trick someone into coming and being on the show. We have Shaddai on the show finally. Yay!
Finally. I took a whole day off just for this.
Perfect.
Just for you guys.
I quit my job just for this.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough. We're all gonna lose our jobs.
Stripping doesn't count, right? I mean, that's an
Right.
investment.
No.
That's not a job. That is a dream.
That's a career, Shaddai.
Yeah, not everybody can do it.
Not everyone should do it.
No,
Right,
exactly.
it depends on the market. Anyway, this is a nerdy podcast. We drink beer, talk about nerdy things. Shaddai's here. She is a person that does some stuff. She's on, has a podcast. What do you do? I don't know.
My podcast is also with Joseph, where we talk about sex.
Hey.
Pillow Talk, which is also on BSXcluded.
Doug Jones approved.
Yes, Doug
yeah.
Jones did approve. It's a lot of naughtiness. We were just way too naughty. We probably made him blush.
I'm sure. Yeah. He seems to be the man, type of man who'd be like, ooh. I don't know about this.
He suddenly sounds like Don Knotts.
Whoa! Mayberry. Anyway, like I said, we drank beer on the show, but before we get to that, I wanted to say something to the people who are actually listening to us. And sometimes we say this kind of stuff in the end of the show, but I wanted to get it out of the way. And we've been doing this for a while now, and we have some response from people, and we really, really, really appreciate everyone who actually listens to the show. And I wanted to say that out loud because maybe we don't say it enough. But there's been some people that, you know, we've mentioned on the show before that are regular listeners, and it seems like we're getting more a day. So thank you so much if you've been here since the beginning. If you haven't, you can find all of our shows on iTunes and YouTube and BSXcluded and all that garbage. So thank you so much for listening. What,
All
Chris?
that garbage.
Yeah.
Oh, as a special thank you for all of those who are listening, you're not going to see our faces anymore, so you're welcome.
That's true.
Oh, yeah.
You're welcome.
You're so welcome.
We're dumping video for many reasons, but
So
Yes.
what will they watch when they jerk off?
gross.
Well, I'll put some pictures of me up, but
They can always
Right,
go
well,
back to the
they'll
old
be-
videos.
Hey.
Yeah, there'll be still images. It'll be fine. But no, seriously, thank you for listening. And if you enjoy the show, please let other people know about it. Share it on your Facebook, on your Twitters. You know, tell people about it. even if it's like, listen to these idiots, that'd be great. As long as people are listening, we'll continue to make the show.
Yeah, show your tweets.
Yeah, going into the next year, we'll have even more happening. So it's pretty exciting. So I just wanted to say it up front. Thank you. So what are you guys drinking? We drink beer on this show. What are you drinking, Chris?
What, me? Okay, so I'm
the
drinking...
other Chris.
Oh. I'm drinking Bent Paddle is the brewery, and it's actually like about a half mile from my house. And it is Bent Paddle Black. It is a very, very black ale. And I didn't get a glass. I should have gotten a glass to pour it in. But it does pour pretty much pitch black. It's got a really, really dark brown foam on the top of it.
Just the way Chris likes it.
Wink, wink. It is one of my favorites from up here. Definitely one of my favorite dark beers of all time. A lot of coffee flavor to it, a little bit of chocolate, and it's pretty creamy too. So absolutely love it. First time I've actually had it, not on tap. So it's still just as good though. So I'm absolutely loving it. So if anyone ever sees Bent Paddle Brewing Company anywhere, definitely try to pick some up and give it a shot.
Oh, don't worry, Chris. You're having it on tap, but you're having it Nerds on Tap.
So it's still kind of on tap, sort of.
Nerds on
but not
tape.
really.
Nerds on tape. So let's go with Joseph next. Yeah.
All right. So periodically we bring some Blue Moon to the scene. I guess I don't have to show this anymore, really, because no one's watching, or they can't watch. Okay, well here, look, and this is Blue Moon Gingerbread Spiced Ale,
Nice.
and it's got gingerbread, it's got molasses, it's got winter spices, and it is delicious.
Mold.
Oh, I tried so bad.
You're a Starbucks white girl.
Oh, completely.
Yeah.
When we had Bebo on the show, she hit the nail on the head. You are so basic, Joseph.
He is. He's such a basic white bitch.
I'm a white bitch, yeah. But no, seriously though, try this. If you say you don't like this, that tastes like gingerbread and winter spices, then you're lying to yourself and you're just trying to be too cool. I have far surpassed the point of trying to be too cool, and I know what I like, and it's this gingerbread spiced ale. Delicious.
Nice.
It's like the saying, there's two kinds of people in the world. There are people who like the Beatles and liars.
Yeah.
Shaddai, we should have did you first because that's what she said. Because the ladies first rule, which apparently we ignore on the show. So what are you drinking?
I am drinking, since I'm like the man of the relationship, I usually have like my whiskey.
Got a Coors.
Whiskey straight, my coffee black. And I am drinking my Mosaic IPA from Community, which I'm not sure if Joseph has brought to the table. But Community Brewery, they're from Dallas. I love their IPA. It's definitely hoppy, but it's smooth at the same time. It's a nice, like, kind of red, golden tone. And it's not so see-through. Like, if you were to put your fingers up, you could probably see about like 2 fingers through. So it's really neat. Like, it's just a very smooth bitterness, and it's very bold, but I love it. It's a great beer to pair with like a burger or something spicy. For some reason, it just like cools the spice down. It's really good.
So we have a snowstorm going on here, and the commuting was bad, and I had to drop a car off, so I didn't have time to get beer. So I had some of the New Belgium Longtable left, and I wanted to finish it off, so I got that farmhouse ale. I had it on a previous episode. It's really good. I'm going to drink it now. You're welcome. So, real briefly, for people who don't know Joseph and Shaddai's Pillow Talk podcast, why don't you guys talk about that for a little bit? What do you guys typically talk about? Do you have a format?
We talk about fucking a lot.
Oh, wow. Just right off the cuff, Shaddai. Right off the cuff.
Not necessarily each other, but sometimes each
Joseph's
other.
reaction. Oh my god.
Yes, we do. Jesus Christ.
That's my reaction on the show too. She never ceases to surprise me with her your verbiage, Shaddai.
Candor. Her candor.
Right.
She's just constantly okay. So it's really foul-mouthed, talk about
right.
Yeah, about sex or just various sex things. It can be things that are new in the sex world, just comical things for the most part. We
new
really
sex toys, but I mean, it's not just sex; it's also like relationship stuff.
Yeah,
not exactly advice, but more.
No, I wouldn't take it as advice.
No, definitely not. But more of our experiences.
Yes.
So whether it's with ourselves
tales.
or other, right. So a lot of it is kind of like storytelling. Like we'll read something and it'll be top 10, how to get your man. And I'm usually just shitting all over it. Like this is garbage. But yeah, so it's very true in what most relationships are, or if not most, definitely ours.
Garbage,
yeah.
Yeah, garbage.
No, one of the things that you guys do that I really like is when you teach each other a new phrase, like a new like sex term. Those are funny. I love those.
Well, it's also like reactions like, what? Like, because honest to God, I'll be like babysitting my friend's kid or whatever. And I tell her, I was like, dude, like she's 10 years old. If you've got a question about anything and, you're embarrassed to ask your parents, like, go ahead and ask me. And she'll have a fucking word that I don't even know. I was like, what the fuck are you kids talking about? So I have to even check up Urban Dictionary. I'm like, okay, you don't want to do that. But sometimes you just don't know. It's like, okay, you're going to be the person that talks about incest to this 10-year-old that you're trying to like babysit.
So you're having to give the talk to her.
Kind of. Cause usually, my friends' kids or whatever, I guess they're just comfortable to talk to me. But I have my best friends who say that I'll never meet their kids until they're 30 years old. So we'll see.
It's because you just have no filter.
Yeah, pretty much.
But that's the fun of the show.
But that's kind of what the show is.
No, that's good. It's like it's
teaching
the
others.
Unadulterated, like anti-Cosmo.
Oh my God, yeah.
There's so many outlets out there that makes a weird like idolization and like let's talk about porn for a second and how unrealistic that can be at some point. And when you're in a generation where like as you're a kid, you have access to all of that, and you're gonna. I think that helps confuse people more than helps them more of the time. I mean, there's a really famous one of the episodes of Freaks and Geeks. You guys familiar with?
Oh, I love that show.
Yep.
Yes.
When they see the porno and he ends up I can't remember the character's name right now for some reason, but the littlest one ends up hanging out with the gym teacher, and the gym teacher has like, okay, I'm not supposed to tell you all this, but here's the real deal. And it starts out with him like wincing and like, oh, really? And then he gets to the point where he's like joking with him and stuff, and that is really important to have, like you said, someone to cut the bullshit.
Right.
Yeah. Sex isn't always just a beautiful, like, movie-esque or TV show type thing. It's often awkward and hilarious, and we try to bring that out.
Yeah, and I think it's also kind of putting it out there that there are girls out there who are just as horny as dudes are and who think just like most guys do. And it's kind of the confusion, or I guess the stereotype that girls have it all together and like they hold the pussy by the hand, like they have the power. And honest to God, we really don't. Not all of us.
Right.
But
and you have the thing too, the stigma that Madonna was trying to obliterate was the fact that if you are a person who thinks like a guy, and I'm putting that in air quotes, that somehow you're a slut. Like, why we all have the urge to do it. Why would you you shouldn't feel guilty about it.
Right.
Exactly.
You shouldn't be shamed into not being the way you are. Man, this got real deep. Let's inject this with some bullshit. Usually on the show, now that we're getting down to our drinks, we randomly select a topic from our master list of generated bullcrap.
Yes.
That Chris will pick at random. We don't know what this topic will be beforehand. We know it's on the list, but we never know when it's going to be sprung upon us, kind of like when you unzip your pants.
Could be 3 inches, could be 6, could be 9. Mama's hoping.
Tying it all together.
Oh my God.
Chris, what do we got?
All right, our topic is... Pause for effect. Nerdy moments that made you cry like Kevin Smith.
Oh man. That happens a lot.
That's not an insult to Kevin Smith.
No, it's not.
He is known to get choked up for various reasons. Usually has to do with Batman, but Like, that's not a knock. It's just that he cares about that character so much. It's that dear to his heart that it's easy for him to get emotional over. So, yeah, basically any moment like that.
There's a
So
there's
just
a
one
reason that
moment?
Kevin Smith is a nerd icon. Part of it is because he will unadulteratedly and unabashedly profess his love for things that he likes. And I think that's a key element in being a quote-unquote nerd. It's the fact that you will love something enough and then be open about it and not try to be too, like Joseph was saying, not trying to be too cool for the room kind of a thing.
Right, totally.
Way to go, Joseph.
So, yeah.
Way to be a softie.
It's okay to be a basic white bitch, guys.
If you're really
have
emotional about
feelings.
Starbucks, I mean,
I know,
can't
right?
knock it.
If
No,
you
but
were
Joseph's
crying
talking
about those
about-
red cups.
Joseph talks about crying during movies all the time. So.
Right.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh my God, yes.
All right, Shaddai.
You're not alone. I do it too.
Oh, I know. All right. So who wants to start this out?
All right,
Jeez,
so-
I've got a ton.
I know. That's the other situation is like, are the one that we cried the longest or more days
Or just most recent.
I guess
I
it's up to
just
you.
Stuff that elicited a response, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's step back to one that we shared, Shaddai, with the
Okay.
whole, this was Batman and Robin. It was a comic. Batman and Robin, I can't remember. It was Requiem was the name of it. It was right after Damian Wayne's death. Before we even knew about his rebirth or whatever was coming up next, it was right after he died. The comic it presented was completely dialogue free. It had no words in it. It was just image driven, and those images were just so beautiful in comparison, or so beautiful in conjunction with what the actual story was. And just watching Bruce go through the pain of losing a child and tying it back to what you know about Batman and seeing him in the alley that his parents died in and all of that, and just seeing the rage that he was filled with, like that drew so much emotion from the both of us. I think that Chris may have heard that episode of our old podcast, Issues
Heard
with
our
Friends.
snotty tears over the microphone.
Yeah, I was listening. I was like, "Holy shit!" Like it got way, way, way deeper than I thought. I was like, "Damn!" So kudos.
Yeah,
to
we
you guys.
were very attached, but it's weird how like certain comics will do that to you. Like you become, I don't know, like one with the characters and the relationship, and that definitely happened to me during Y the Last Man, because
Oh man!
at the
end.
very end, with,
Don't say it. Don't say
I
it.
know.
But
Okay,
just-
okay. But here's the thing. For 3 days after that, I finished it. I finished the whole thing. And each day that I was in traffic, it was a 30-minute drive home. I was crying. I was just I'd
man.
start thinking about it. I mean, and like the whole grape and the whole, like, this is your favorite fruit. I'm like, oh my God.
No, I get that. Like, I
I
didn't cry over that part, but it was really I was depressed for a couple of days after that.
Right.
It stuck with you, and I remember Katie read it first, and she's like, I remember watching her read it as it happened, and she just kind of stopped and went, oh. I was like, oh no. So I knew something was going to happen, and then I got to it, and I was just like, are you kidding me? And you felt the weight of it. It's just like, oh God.
Yeah, you're in mourning. I was in mourning for 3 days over like, and having to snap myself out. I'm like, it was a book. It was just a book. Come on, like, it's okay.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you do become so attached to these characters that, it kills you.
Like, do you remember me trying to explain the Watcher, his interaction? Uatu, or Uwata, is it?
Uatu.
Yeah. So when trying to explain this interaction between the new Nova, Sam Alexander, and Uatu, the Watcher,
right?
I kept getting choked up. I could not get this sentence out could not explain this little part of the story without crying. And I'll try to explain it right now, but there's no promises I won't start crying again. Okay. So what happened was, this is comics. It was an issue of Nova where he goes up to, he had been interacting with Uatu for a little while, just going up and talking to him. The Watcher, he doesn't really talk. But he's there to listen. He's a good listener. So Sam Alexander, being just a young kid, would go up and talk to him. He just needed somebody to speak with. And what he did at some point, like he had heard that, like when you go to visit somebody, like a neighbor, you bring them like a gift, like you bring them something. So what he did was he brought him some soil from like the Avengers versus X-Men battle or something like that. Just something that he thought was special, and he gave it to him. And his initial reaction wasn't really anything like emotional or anything like that. He accepted it and went about his business. But then it was the thing was after Sam left where he was trying to
Do you need me to finish?
Hold on, no, I got it.
Okay.
Where he was trying to
Yeah.
he was trying to
It's okay, Joseph.
yeah, I know. He was like what he did was after Sam had left, he went to this different part of his sanctuary up there on the moon, and he put it under a little like a preservation, like a case that displayed it, like, but also preserved it, and just kind of, it was sitting alone by itself, and just like that showed how special it was to him. And that's really what got me, was the fact that this emotionless, or, you know, typically emotionless, being, this watcher, that meant something to him, and he put it on display for not necessarily everyone to see because it was off, you know, in the corridors of his hideout, but it was just what it meant to him that meant a lot to me. So that touched me, and it still does. Like, I'm holding back tears right now. It's really tough.
That's cool. There's a moment with Uatu in Civil War too that's pretty, like, the Watchers, when they make their presence known, it's like, okay, that's like an omen. And I don't remember exactly the circumstances, but all of a sudden he shows up and like, oh my God, he's watching. That means this. And everyone knew, okay, that means this moment is important. And I remember reading this going, oh God, he's here. This is going to be, you know, if you knew the Watcher, you're like, oh God, what's going to happen?
So I really enjoy the theory that Stan Lee is the Watcher in all the Marvel movies. Like, kind of like a different take on him. Because it's like, yeah, every movie is supposed to be a significant event in that world, and that he's there for each one. So I think that's such a cool theory. I don't think that's what they planned, but I think thinking about it that way is pretty interesting.
That is, I've never heard that, but yeah, that is interesting.
Let's get Joss Whedon out of the way, cause he's the type of person that just fucking pulls the rug out from under you every fucking time. And I remember, I wish more people knew about Frey, the comic series Frey. And especially I find it funny when I meet people who just love Buffy the Vampire Slayer and they don't even realize that Frey exists, because it helps flesh out that entire thing so well. But when I remember reading that, and when I can't remember the girl's name, but the little mutated girl with one arm, when she eats it, I was just I had to put the book down and walk away from it for a while.
Yeah, that's painful.
I was so excited. I was so excited to read it, and I'm reading it, and then that happened. I was just like, oh, I had to close the book and just not think about it for a while.
Well, since you brought up Buffy, and this wasn't something that I reacted to too much. I mean, it was really, like, it hit me, but I didn't, like, cry over anything, but it was something that got my wife really emotionally, was an episode of Buffy called The Body, and it was where basically Buffy's mom had kind of been sick for a while with, like, getting headaches and nosebleeds, things like that. All of a sudden, Buffy walks in one day and her mom's just dead, just on the couch, laid down, eyes open, and not for any supernatural reason, which is probably what everyone always expects for someone in that show to die from a supernatural incident. She had a brain aneurysm and just died. And it just shows Buffy dealing with everything, like freaking out. She's like screaming and breaking things, and she's calling people, and some people aren't picking up, and she's shaking, and she starts vomiting and isn't really sure what to do. And all of a sudden it kind of plays out this thing, like all of a sudden her mom comes back to life and blah, 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 and everything's fine. Then it cuts and her mom's dead again. It's just something she played through in her head, kind of hoping that, you know, this would end, that she would come back to life. So she's picturing it in her head, but in reality her mom's still dead. And she goes through the actual, like, entire process of having to call, like, the police and ambulance, and she's just having to sit there and wait for people to show up to take her mom away. It was really hard to get through that episode. It was just so well done.
It's cool because if she would have died in a way that was, like, tied to the supernatural, I feel like Buffy would have been able to deal with that more than her going that way. So that's cool the way they did it that way. And yeah, that makes it more emotionally heavy. That's pretty crazy. I've only watched a couple episodes of Buffy, so.
For me, as far as things go, like, I haven't had too many moments. There's been, like, I have a few small moments here and there, and it's usually with seeing something I love, like, from another media come to life, like in a movie or something like that. Like when I was at San Diego Comic-Con this last year, and I told you guys there's a couple moments that I got choked up. One was seeing, like, some of the footage from the Warcraft trailer. Because, I mean, that's a game where if anyone plays that, you know, you're pretty much immersed in it. That's like, and I mean, you play it so much, it's like your life for a while. And I met so many cool people through it, like I wouldn't know Jim if I hadn't played that game. So many people. And, so being there and then seeing some of it come to life on the screen, it was just like, it was kind of like an awe moment. And especially because some of the graphics were just really amazing. And it was more like, you know, like I said, not like a sadness kind of thing. It was like you're just in complete awe, like I'm like slack-jawed, and I can feel like a tear welling up, and I'm like just, holy shit, kind of moment, like blowing my mind. Same thing happened watching the Suicide trailer with like Harley Quinn at the beginning, where the song's going and stuff like that, and it was just like the first time anyone's seen this. I'm in a room full of, you know, 6,000 other people all watching it, so everybody's on the edge of their seat. This music's playing, it's really ethereal, and you're seeing these characters that you haven't seen before come to life, and it was just like another really inspiring moment. So like it just, that stuff just kind of like grabs me and does not let go. So
I think a lot of the emotional response that's taken from you when you see things like that is just a connection that you have to it, either from your childhood or from experiences you've had in your life. Most recently, what I remember welling up over was the Peanuts movie.
Oh yeah.
And that Shaddai and I both, we had gone to see it together, and yeah, that's just, it's not an inherently sad movie or anything. They weren't sad tears. They were like kind of happy tears, I guess.
Right.
Pride tears, yeah. And it's just like the misadventures of Charlie Brown, essentially. And it's some of the things that were happening were just like, man, this is just, it tugs at the heartstrings because you're just so happy for him. In different ways.
I mean, there's a lot that definitely goes with it. Like, for example, last year I went to visit Boston for the first time so I can like hang with my best friend who moved over there, and just going to see like Cheers, like just the outside of the actual the Cheers bar and stuff. I started crying, and it was one of those where it hits those happy moments that you have. Like for myself, it was a happy moment that I would share with my dad, you know, kind of thing. It's like every Thursday, 7 or 8 p.m., I guess, we would watch Cheers together kind of thing. And it was like, holy shit, like it's here. Like this is it. This was a moment. This is nostalgia. Mm-hmm. And when it hits you hard, oh my God, like it's, you feel, and I know it's dumb, like it's a TV show, but it's the meaning behind that show and the experience you have around it. So I think that's what makes everybody so emotionally attached to those things.
Yeah, like that's the same thing with Lucy for me, because that's what I used to watch with my mom all the time. So if I see Lucy, I mean, I love Lucy, but if I see it and I start thinking about it, like I start thinking too deep about it, I'll start crying. I'll start tearing up because of the emotional ties that I have to it. Not because anything sad is happening at all.
It's the same reason why I tell you to shut up when you start singing like...
Rainbow Connection.
Yes, when he starts singing Rainbow Connection, it's over. I tell him, I'm like, you want me to cry, right? Like that's the only reason why you're singing it.
That's
right?
the trigger.
You just want me to cry.
I have some very specific memories tied to I Love Lucy as well, so I held that. And I feel like, and this hasn't happened to me yet, but I know that if I ever get to New York and I get to go to the Ghostbusters Firehouse, I'm gonna be a mess.
Right.
I'm just
You're
gonna be a mess.
mess.
I'm gonna be a blabbering mess. When I met Ernie Hudson at Minneapolis Comic-Con, like I was outside of my body and I was freaking out because Winston's the fucking best. And it's like, oh my God, it's fine.
Dude, isn't it such a crazy experience? That's what I had like in the summer when we went to LA and I got to see Adam Jones, who I'm a big Tool fan, and he's the guitarist for Tool. So, and we're at a comic book store. He's walking. I'm like, oh my God, I know this guy. Like, I know him. I know him. I
didn't know who it was.
Yeah. And I go, I'm sorry. Like, he's on his way out. I go, I'm sorry. but are you Adam Jones? And he's like, yeah. And I go, okay. I know who you are, but you don't know who I am.
She said the weirdest thing she could have.
That's pretty much it. That's pretty much it. It would.
I know you don't know. You said, I know you don't know me, but I know you.
Yes, I know you don't know
That
me,
is
but
kinda
I know
right.
you.
I know
Exactly.
you.
And afterwards, like, I was shaking. I don't know for how long. And Joseph's just, I've never seen you this way. I'm like, I know that's Adam Jones. Like, I just shook the hand of God. Like, this was intense for me.
He was even saying, like, I'm going to this concert later. And I was like, why didn't you just say, like, do you need company or something? She's like, I was just freaking out.
I was freaking out of my head.
Yeah. When I met Kevin Conroy, and not only did he sign my Batman Arkham City game, but he also recorded those lines for us. I was shaking. I just couldn't believe it happened. And he was such a generous person, and he was really cool about it. And you could tell he was kind of annoyed, but at the same time, he still did it. So it was really cool.
That was kind of how it was when we met John Cassier, the voice of the Crypt Keeper.
Oh yeah. You were freaking out.
Because that's the voice you just hear it your whole life, and you never expect to meet the person who is that voice.
But it's weird that our brains will make us shake. Like it'll control it just enough to be like, put it together, put it again,
yeah,
put it
keep
again.
It
and
together.
As soon as they turn around, you're like, it fucking sweats, like just freaking out.
Kevin Conroy came out, he stands on the chair and goes, I am Batman. I was like, holy shit, Batman's here. And like, but like the girl in front of me was dressed as Harley Quinn, and like as she was keeping it together, and then as soon as she got to the thing, she melted, and she just fucking she's like,
we end up like the fans for the Beatles. We're those girls that are screaming our heads off.
Crying.
Like, we're crying.
Yeah.
We are crying. Like,
we're
get
in the
it.
same room as them.
Yes, like we're breathing the same air. Holy fuck! Like, sneeze on me. Do what you gotta do.
Oh yeah, you should have seen Jackie when she saw Tom Hiddleston at Comic-Con. Oh my god.
Oh
my god. I was like, go sit somewhere else. Jeez.
She just threw her panties. It was over.
Yeah, you did not exist in that moment.
Oh, I know.
At all. She like forgot she was married.
Yeah,
right. It's all tunnel vision.
Yeah, that's how Shaddai was when we met the Tool guitarist, Adam Jones. I still forget his name.
Who are you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I shook
I'm
his
like,
hand.
I just need this guy to take a picture. Guy, hey, dude.
Yeah, I'm just the guy taking
Take
a picture.
our picture.
That dude that was with me. Jesus, whatever. Come here.
Whatever. Just.
I shook his hand and I'm like, hey, I'm Joseph. And
I don't know you.
I don't know you. He's like, hey, I'm Adam. I'm like, hey, Adam.
And you'll never know him.
But I shook his hand.
I was gonna say, I usually get really nervous. Like, I get horrible anxiety. If I'm gonna meet somebody like that, I will shake and get like sick to my stomach and stuff. I got to meet Stan Lee at Comic-Con this year, and he was so personable and everything that completely went away by the time I got up to him. He was just like super excited to see everybody, and he signed something. And he was just like, boy, my hand's getting tired from all these handshakes. So I was like, I'll fist bump you. So he was like, okay. So we like fist bumped. And he thought that was the coolest thing ever. And I'm like, oh man, that's awesome. And
You're
he was
his
just
first
like,
fist bump.
just total, like exactly what you expect from Stanley. It's just like seeing like your old Jewish grandpa or something.
Oh, I love it.
And it was perfect. Like any kind of butterflies were instantly away. And that's the first time that's ever happened with me. So I was pretty, like, that's something that will always stick with me because like he made like the nervousness like completely disappear.
You remember, oh yeah, they're real people. And
right, exactly.
I kept running into Chris Claremont at Wizard World, and there was one moment where I could have talked to him and I didn't because I was like, it's fucking Chris Claremont for fuck's sake. Like, but then when I got to his booth and there's a video of it on our YouTube page, but he was so into it, and he charged $5 for an autograph. He doesn't care about the money. He likes to interact with his fans. And there is a little bit of air of, he knows how good he is, kind of a thing. But at the same time, like, he was, like, when I handed him that book that my friend gave him, it was The Best of Wolverine, he was so happy to be going through and, like, you could see him reliving, like, when he wrote. He loved it. He loved the fact that he could go through and he was, like, laughing at his own stuff, and then he kind of would say a few musings here and there, and it was just such a cool moment, and He was a no nonsense, you know? He just was like, this is what I did. This is what I think about stuff. Deal with it.
But there really is something to be said with like celebrities in their element, I guess. Like, you know, when they're at Comic-Con, they're presented a certain way and then they charge you for your picture.
Yep.
Excuse me. But it's interesting when you see them out in the open, like, you know, oh, they're just like us kind of situation.
They're humans
Exactly.
too.
They're humans
Regular
too.
people.
I know. So like a few years back, I went on a date. I was in LA and I was on a date and we were just sitting at the bar. We're like, fuck it. We'll just eat right here. And Billy D. Williams.
Oh,
Sits-
fuck you.
Rando?
He sits next. Yes. And I start sweating. My date who, he's not a big Star Wars fan or anything. I mean, like he knows Star Wars, but I was sweating. He's like, are you okay? I'm like, it's Lando. He's right next to me. It's Lando. He's right next to me. Like, what the fuck do I do? And he's just there. Like, that seems to be his regular place. He grabs a drink and he takes his food to go like on the same time every week or whatever. So they already knew him. I was like, oh my God, it's Lando. And I didn't want to be that person because people did start coming by wanting to take a picture. So I'm probably in somebody's like photo, just kind of like bombing it because I'm
Like
in the
creeping
background. Yes,
in
because
the
I'm like, it's
background.
Lando, it's Lando, it's fucking Lando. Oh my God. So yeah, I just did not know what to do. But yeah, it's pretty interesting. And you know, the waitress or the bartender, she was like, yeah, he's pretty sweet and he tips really well. And I was like, all right, that's very nice to know.
Remember when we were in Houston or no, not San Antonio.
San Antonio.
And we were sitting at the breakfast table and then George Takai was sitting like
Next
two
to
tables
us.
next to us.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah.
He was a sweet dude also.
we didn't bother him or anything because he's eating breakfast.
That's what
but
they're in their element.
he's just there being regular dude eating breakfast just like us.
just like
Oh
us.
my.
He likes the French toast too.
Yeah.
He likes the French toast.
The French toast, yeah.
I was gonna say one thing that like usually gets me the most, and I don't know, I'm sure other people are like this too, but like at the end of like a TV series or something, when you know that that's it, like I'll be sad for a couple days once it's over because I'm like, that's
Oh
it.
my God,
like
yeah.
I'm not gonna get any more. There's like two, I can distinctly remember two in particular, and they're cartoons, which like makes it even worse. But like one of them was X-Men Evolution. If anyone ever watched that when it was on, like the very, very last episode, they're like, everyone is all out going at it against like Apocalypse and shit. And it ends and Professor X is giving this whole big speech about, you know, all the things they face together and what they're going to face in the future. And they're kind of showing like a montage of clips of the characters getting older and stuff like that. And they're like, and we'll lose some friends along the way. And it's a picture of Jean Grey, like, losing her shit, becoming the Phoenix. And, like, you know what's gonna happen. And I was just like, oh, God. Like, come on, man. Like, so painful.
Astonishing X-Men at the end of that
Oh, yeah.
stuck with me for a long time with Kitty Pryde, because, I mean, Kitty Pryde is an amazing character. He brought her back to the forefront and then did what he always does. But did it in a way that it was like, oh my, like, really?
Right.
And you
Because that
felt
was a
it.
horrible way to go.
It really was. And then the elephant in the room, I think we were all touched by Wash.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, let's take everyone's favorite character. I remember when I saw that in the theater. We went to the theater and we saw it like the opening weekend. So we were with an audience that hadn't seen it before. And everyone was like, yeah, woo, get it, they won. And then he just, again, pulls the rug out from under you. And I remember you could hear a fucking pin drop in that theater. And I started hearing sniffling and people just being like waiting for it to not be true. But it was happening in front of you, just like, oh, what? I can't believe that just happened. Especially
so
when
sudden.
the way he set it up was genius. You thought, I mean, at that point you thought everyone was dead. And it made everything after that, you were like, oh good, now Simon's done, he's gone. Fucking, they're all dead. They're all dead. They're all gonna die. This is the end. And then speaking about the ends of TV shows, it was the same way with me with the end of Dollhouse.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, when
That's crazy.
I can't remember his character's name, but yeah, he goes and you're like, God damn it, I hate everything.
But it's
Then you
such
curl
like
up in a ball and you want to die.
It's like a bittersweet end. The way they
It really
set up
is.
the ending, though.
It really is. It makes it worse.
Yeah, bittersweet
makes it
moments are
worse.
always worse because you want to be happy, but you're also sad at the same time, and it's just such a conflict. And so Joseph, I don't know if you've watched with me and Joseph's other show where we were watching cartoons. I don't know if you watched ours for this week yet, but there's a moment in the last episode that really, it gets me every time, where this particular character, who you're supposed to hate her because she's a bad guy, but she gets defeated, but you can tell like her mind, she's so tortured because she's like all of a sudden like laughing hysterically and crying at the same time and shooting fire out of her mouth and just going crazy as shit, and you just feel so terrible for this person that, like, man, it gets me every time I see that.
Yeah, I haven't. Is that one of the episodes that I'll be watching? I haven't watched it yet. Oh, nice. I'm excited.
If anyone hears this, if you go back and listen to that show, you will definitely hear me talk about it, because that part gets me emotionally every time I see it.
You know what? Speaking of cartoons drawing out emotion, Batman the Animated Series was wonderful at that. There's an episode that I remember.
All the time.
I mean, just even with just Mr. Freeze's whole whole episode, that's just such an intense and not even intense, it's just so emotional. It's like it gave that character gravity that he didn't have before, gravitas that he didn't have before, because he was a black and white character prior to this series, and this series really made him an actual character and made you actually sympathize with a villain, which is what all good writers should do, because if you can relate to the villain, then you can understand their motives more, as opposed to just being, oh, I'm a bad guy, the end. There was an episode I remember, I can't remember the name of it, but it had the girl who was permanently trapped in, like, she played like a little girl on TV, but she was trapped in her younger body because she had this thing where she couldn't age. And so she started going on a crime spree as this like little girl.
Right.
And then it was just her emotional breakdown to Batman that made it like really, even when I was young watching it then, like that hit me hard. I was like, wow, that is like this, even though she's a villain, like this is just a human, and this is a character, and I can relate to a lot of this. And this, I don't know, it just really drew emotion out of me. Even then, watching it again, I'm sure it would do the same thing.
Oh yeah, I remember that episode. That definitely stuck with me. There's a lot of episodes of that cartoon in particular that, seeing as a kid, like I still remember. And I get these weird like deja vus with that series in particular a lot, where if it's like, and it must be because when I was a kid, I must have been, watching this in the evenings, like during the winter, so it's dark and I can hear my parents making stuff in the kitchen. So like, I get that distinct memory a lot of watching that show when it's dark out, but like the sounds and smells of a kitchen at the same time. It's a really comforting and really strange memory to get, and especially because I still get it, like, I would say at least a couple times a year it hits me. So it's just really interesting how things like that stick with you.
It's a good time travel, though. Like, especially,
Absolutely.
That's how I feel about, like, the show The Office. For some reason, I noticed that I always watched that show when it was cold outside kind of thing. And each time when there's, like, a certain episode, like, it just kind of warms your heart a little bit. You're like, oh, like you just remember where you were in that moment when it all happened, kind of thing.
Jim, you look really pensive right now. What are you thinking about?
Are you thinking about your next beer?
You hit me on the nostalgia bone. And no, I distinctly remember coming home after school and watching the Batman animated series in the winter, and you talking about hearing your parents making dinner as you watched it made me think of some stuff. So
I hit Jim in the feels.
Does anybody remember? I don't know if it was Justice League or Batman animated series or what it was exactly, but it was the Bruce Timm verse, at least. I know that, where Batman had to go. No, it might have been Batman Beyond even, where Amanda Waller was telling Batman a story, or no, she was telling Terry Guinness a story about Batman, where he had to go and help There was one of the like Ace or something from the clan that was like the deck of cards or whatever. I can't remember.
What were they? The Royal Flush Gang?
Yeah, Royal Flush Gang. It was Ace, I think, where she's got telekinetic powers, but it was also, but because she had those telekinetic powers or the telekinesis or the psychotelekinesis, whatever it was, she also was she developed a brain tumor and she was slowly dying. And she started to just change the world around her because she was so powerful. Because of that, like, Batman was sent to essentially assassinate her, even though she was close to death. Like, if she died the way that she was right now, the world would stay changed as it was. And what ended up happening was Batman went and instead of, as he was directed to kill her, instead of doing that, he went and he sat down like on a swing set with her and just talked to her and like heard her out. And it's just like, if you watch that, like, I know I cried, like I'm still about to, but it's so crazy watching just him sit and just speak with her, because Batman's known to be this tough, like gritty, like, unemotional guy. And then just to see him in that element and talking someone down from committing just such a crazy act of crime in their last moments, and just being with her in those last moments meant so much to her. Like, that's just such an emotional scene. And I think it's Batman Beyond. So check it out if you haven't.
I just remembered something. And this still elicits a response to me. I mean, in Spider-Man 2, and I'm talking about the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man 2, when he saves the L train and then he passes out because he has to stop the train, and
they all see his face.
Oh my god!
And they're all like, "He's just a kid," and all this other stuff. Yeah.
Well, tears welling up, and I thought it was one of the best moments in any movie.
Dude, Toy Story 3. Can we go to Toy Story 3 when they accepted their death? When they all held hands and they're like, "This is it. This is how we're gonna die." I held hands with a stranger and I cried and looked over and he was crying. And I'm like, yes, we both get it. Like, we were both in tears. We're like, oh my God, of all the Disney things to happen, they're going to fucking murder them.
Did you tell the guy that you know him, but he doesn't know you when you started holding his hand?
I know, right?
That's how she interacts with all men.
Hey, man, why do they keep taking me home? I don't know.
The beginning of Up too.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
Yes.
I cry every time. Every time I cry.
Like, there's no word. Like, that's the thing. It's like, you don't even need words to understand what's happening within their relationship as they're getting older, and especially the whole, like, they can't have children or something happen. Oh my God! Like, you just start bawling.
That just takes us full circle back to the Batman and Robin Requiem issue, where it's just even lack of words altogether.
Yeah.
Just imagery can be that powerful.
It's just universal. That pain is so universal. And especially like with that comic, like I started bawling because I was like, fucking Bruce watches his parents die. His only child who like he's raising from this point on ends up dying. Like, he lost everything. Like, his only line in his life that he felt closest to ends up dying again. And he had to feel that whole thing all over again.
Just watching him, like, to see a scream of just pure, like, rage and without any kind of vocalization to it, that's just such a strong image that stuck with me to this day. And that was, like, almost 2 years ago.
Yeah.
That reminds me of that moment in The Dark Knight when Harvey Dent wakes up for the first time and realizes what happened, and you don't hear anything. You just hear that like really high pitched whine, and he's just screaming and like pounding his fist against the bed and everything. Like, moments like that, like moments of people experiencing like that pure, like emotional, just devastation, like rage and stuff like that gets me every time.
Oh, yeah, totally.
When the writing's good enough, when they've earned it and you feel it, it's that's what makes good movies good movies.
Oh, the death of Optimus Prime in the original cartoon.
Oh,
fuck. Yeah. Every time.
Nobody saw that coming, man.
Oh, never. No one would have expected Optimus Prime to die. So when he does, you're just like, no.
He's a father figure.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, and the reasoning behind it is pretty cheap. You
I know,
about
because
it.
they
I mean,
want more toys.
They just wanted different toys, but like they did
They had
it
to
in
bring
such
them
a
back.
way that it punches me in the face, man.
Yeah, they
But
had to
there's-
bring him back because there's
Yeah.
just so much outrage of getting rid of, like, yeah, he was basically a father figure to all of his kids that grew up in the 80s. So
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
But there's also like other things. Like, I don't know why it is that when I hear Mark Hamill doing the Joker, and when he's not
Oh,
supposed to do the Joker, like do you guys watch The Flash and when he played the trickster?
Yeah, I just rewatched that episode too.
Isn't it awesome? Like, there's parts of it where I started thinking that's the closest thing to the Joker we're ever gonna get. Like, right there.
Yeah,
And it's so
if you look
good.
at his performance as the trickster in the original, he was just kind of Mark Hamill,
Right.
but he knew he had to bring it, and he brought the Joker, and you're just like,
It's
I
there.
remember, I love that episode so much, and Katie had to tell me to settle down when we were watching it.
Oh, I'm not gonna lie.
It's like,
I'm
just
gonna
calm your
cry
roll.
at the new Star Wars.
Oh,
I know
yeah.
it.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
I mean, when I saw that
yeah.
trailer, I
Yeah.
The
streaming
first
tears
second
of
I see
joy.
Luke Skywalker,
Well, even
I'm
the
gonna be
joke
in tears.
trailer of Matthew McConaughey, I'm like, yes, that was me. That was me reacting to that.
It's
that's
just
how I was.
the whole looking back at it in a nostalgic way, seeing Han and Chewie together.
Oh my god! And when they're saying we're home,
We're home.
Oh,
Yeah, that's
it's over.
it's like
It's
the tears
over.
were there, or the tears were on the verge the whole thing, but then that's just what brought them out right there.
We're all home.
I know.
Yeah, that we're taking my oldest to that. It's gonna be his first movie. I hope he sits through the whole thing because I hope I make a memory for him.
Yeah,
It'll be a
absolutely.
great-
And
first movie.
him being there, and if he enjoys it and he stays the whole time, I'm gonna be a mess.
Oh, I know. You're like, I'm a dad.
I'll
like,
get
this
to
is...
see it through his eyes, and it's gonna be amazing.
Crazy.
What a beautiful episode this has been.
Seriously.
Things that make us cry.
All right, I think that's
All right.
enough hugging and crying and other things.
We all feel like basic white bitches right now.
Now you know my pain.
A little bit of Kevin Smith
You understand me.
in all of us.
So this has been Nerds on Tap. Thanks again, Shaddai, for being on the show.
Of course. Thanks
Very
for
glad
having
to have
me.
you finally.
I know. Finally.
Right?
Mhm.
Whatever.
Whatever.
I'm just kidding. You can find us on iTunes. You can find us on Stitcher, BSXcluded.com. We're everywhere. Just type
Twitter.
in Nerds on Tap. You'll find us
Google
on
Play.
Twitter.
We're on Google Play now.
Google
Oh,
Play.
yeah, we
What's
are.
that?
Go play.
I don't know, but we're on it.
What is Google playing with?
Well,
Doesn't matter.
tell you what Google plays with.
Google's
So in
gonna
the
go
next
blind.
episode, we're going to have more of our massive Nerdocalypse crazy time battle fun explosion. So that's going to be part B. So thank you very much. As always, I'm Jim.
I'm Chris.
I'm Joseph.
And I'm Shaddai.
Drink like a nerd. Cheers.
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 Sorry, not sorry.
I know.
Alfred, I need information from the back computer.
Ah, Master Bruce. How goes the raid on Arkham?
I have these names, Chris, Jim, and Joseph. They call themselves Nerds on Tap.
It says here, sir, that they can be found on Twitter at nerds_on_tap and on Facebook and iTunes. They even have a YouTube channel with all the episodes as well as other content. I'm watching it right now. It's nerdy, but quite good, sir.
These three need to be brought to justice. I will rid Gotham of their nerdiness. I am vengeance. I am the night. I am the Batman.